Hey, what's up, dudes? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Today we're doing something a little different. You know, usually I theorize about chapters and stuff. I mean, I talk about patch notes and some other things occasionally, but some interesting information was released today. Stats for Dead by Daylight after 6.1.0. So it's like average kill rate, perks, perk usage rate, stuff like that, and they released it for killer and survivor and queue time, so I kind of wanted to talk about it today. If you guys never watched the streams, I haven't streamed in a very long time, but when I did stream, if you watched, you could tell that I'm a pretty competitive person. I like to win, and I'm decent at the game. I'm usually around, you know, the eerie rank on killer and on survivor when I play survivor. So I really wanted to talk about this and give my opinions on it and where I think some things could change. So I hope you guys stick around for that. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So I want to start with the one in the middle. They did release some things about queue times, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit real quick. So here's the picture for that. So the average queue time right now is 59 seconds. It's previously 91 seconds, so it's down, what, like, math hard, brother. 31 seconds, 32 seconds, something like that, math hard. So that's pretty good. The queue times still feel like they take forever some days. They still feel like they take like literally 5 minutes some days. And then you have to worry about getting cheaters, obvious cheaters that you can tell. And I mean, here's the thing, and I'm gonna be real with you. You might not see your favorite streamer dodging games or anything, but the average killer on Dead by Daylight does not want to go up against a 4-man survive with friends every single game that they play in Dead by Daylight, or even a 3-man. I personally will dodge 4-man survive with friends if I've versed it like 3 or 4 times in that day, because it's not fun to keep sweating like that over and over and over again. So you gotta look at those queue times of 59 seconds now down from 91 and add another good, I mean, at least 20, 30, 40 seconds for all of the queues that you have to dodge because you don't have any information on whether it's a full team or not. Now that's why I appreciate so much survivors in the game who make their names similar to each other. So, I mean, they're not doing it on purpose. I mean, I guess they are because they're playing together, but they're not doing it for the killer to show the killer that they are in a squad. But it's very appreciated because I can make a decision on whether I would like to play that game or not. There are thousands of other killers out there that would take that game if I didn't want to, which is fine, and I'm glad that some of those players give me the information on that. Now, with that being said, that's why I think Dead by Daylight should add a notification system in for killers to know if it's a survive with friends, at least a 3 or 4-man. A 2-man, two 2-mans, that's completely fine, but a 3-man or a 4-man survive with friends can legitimately be the most miserable experience for a killer player if they're not playing one of the best killers in the game with the best perks and best add-ons if that team decides to sweat. It's not a whole lot of fun. Now, it also says average killer wait time on chapter launch up to 240 seconds faster compared to no matchmaking incentives, and average survivor wait time on chapter launch day up to 40 seconds faster compared to no matchmaking incentives, which is pretty good. But yeah, that's really just my main thought there. I feel like queue times would be fixed a little bit more if we had a notification on what we were playing, and if the cheating problem could be fixed. So now I want to go into the survivor part of things. I don't know what the most seen survivor perk 21% usage rate, previously 42%. I don't know what that means. I guess it would be talking about self-care, because that is the number 1 out of the top 3 used perks, which the second is still dead hard, and then the third is windows of opportunity. Now I would like to go ahead and take a chance right now and say that I'm actually proud of behavior, because they did nerf dead hard into the ground, and of course self-care is going to be like way up there because of solo queue and casual players. The only problem right now is there is a perk combination out at the moment that you're not going to see on the top 3 most popular survivor perks, because it's used by the top 1% of players, you know? And that's kind of like the thing about it. We see these most popular survivor perks, and we'll see the most popular killer perks here in a second, but that doesn't really it's not really relevant to the game at a higher level than the average, you know, I play a couple hours a night, or I play all weekend and then work all week and then hit it the next weekend too. The casual players, the people who play the game, the millions of people that play the game around bronze and, you know, maybe silver, whatever it is, the people who play the game around that area are the people influencing these most popular survivor perks, because there are more of them. So you're not seeing the top 1% of players with hyper focus and stakeout right now. So I think the most popular survivor perks are nice, and I think those combos are a lot harder to set up for a casual player. And even though this sounded like a hate take, I'm actually proud of Behavior for nerfing one of the most popular casual survivor perks in the game, and not even for casuals, but like fucking top 1% too, which is dead hard. You still see it up there, but I swear, even at the top level of the game, playing as a killer now, you don't see it as much. And as a survivor player too, it takes more brain power to use. I cannot just mindlessly press E and be like, oh, well, there's another minute and a half to my chase. You know, I have to use my brain, and I love that. It makes me think, and I love it. Now we come to the average escape rate, which is down to 39%, which is previously 47%. Now, I don't know how much I'm buying that statistic at the moment. I guess if they're taking it, like, if we were just talking about it, the top 3 perks right there. So I guess if we're taking it from, like, the bronze and silver and, I mean, maybe even gold players at the top, then there would be realistically more of them. And if you guys know anything about Dead by Daylight, you know it's one of the most weirdly balanced games in the world, where at the top level of killer, it's miserable. And at the lowest level of survivor, it's miserable. So when you first start playing a survivor, it's a miserable experience. But when you are really good at playing killer, it's a miserable experience. So it kind of like levels out. It brings both of those up to like the middle right there. And it's like, it makes it one of the most weirdly balanced games ever. So I can really see this from a new player or casual player point of view, being, you know, 39% down from 47, because they nerfed one of the best, you know, free extended chase perks in the game. They nerfed that all to hell, and they've nerfed some other things. So yeah, I could definitely see it being down, but I do think it's at the same spot it was at that iridescent level. But now we come to the killer perks, and I think the killer is, you get a better idea of where the game's at based on killer, because it is not that hard to get to a higher level of killer. It's not that hard to raise your MMR on killer, because as I said, survivor at a lower level, at the new player or casual player experience of bronze and silver, it sucks, because you're usually in a solo queue, and if you're not, you're a disorganized team. So the killer usually just blows right through you. So I think these killer stacks are a little bit more accurate, because killers will rise in the ranks quicker than survivors, but they will have a harder time staying there. So I think it's a little bit more relevant of data. So with that being said, and also I will say also, I think killers are they have a tendency to watch more tutorial videos or informational videos like Oxdarva when it comes to perks and everything. And I'm saying that based on experience from people I know, people I've talked to in my chat rooms and in my comments, and even myself. When I play Survivor, when I'm on a Survivor kick, I don't really watch any videos for Survivor, because everything's so self-explanatory. But when it comes to killers and certain killer builds, I go watch other people do it. I go see what they think is strong. So I think there's a tendency there that will average out the perks, the most popular perks, to be kind of relevant in the data, even, you know, from a casual standpoint. And with that being said, it does look like it. For our number 1, we have Jolt. For our number 2, we have Pain Resonance. And for our number 3, we have Barbecue and Chili. I think Barbecue and Chili might be the only one that might be a little bit off there. I would say that the number 3, and I'm betting it was pretty damn close, it'd probably be Eruption. And the sad thing is, that would make, and I can't really say that and, you know, base my thought on that, but I will say the fact that 2 out of the 3 perks are gen slowdown, that's a little bit sad, and that's still saying something to me. I still feel like gens go way too quickly, even with Jolt having no cooldown now. I feel like the percentage that it pops a gen for is too low, and that's kind of like the same with Pain Resonance. You know, sometimes you can get a map with Scourge hooks right where you need them, sometimes you never get a Scourge hook, and even when you do, that's only 15%, and that could have been for a 1.5-minute chase. I think we need to do something a little bit about gen slowdown, because I think the perks show that. The two of the 3 most popular killer perks are gen slowdown perks. I think that should be different. Where's a perk like Spirit Fury? Where's a perk like Brutal Strength? Where's a perk like Awakened Awareness? Where's a perk like Starstruck? You know, we don't see any of that because we're having to worry about gen slowdown. A lot of people, even at the higher casual standard, will just be running full gen slowdown. They'll throw on Pain Resonance, they'll throw on Jolt, and they'll put on, I've seen people run, along with those 2 perks, Eruption and Call of Brine as well. And I mean, most people, for like most M1 killers, are already running Eruption, Call of Brine, and sometimes Overcharge, and they have something like Save the Best for Last for an M1 killer. And if it's not that, then it's usually Corrupt Intervention, Pain Resonance, and Eruption. You know, it's all about the gen slowdown, because if you don't slow those gens down, your games last for around 3 minutes, and then all 4 people get out unless you face camp one. And I think slowing the gen times down would also help with face camping and tunneling, because it makes a lot of killers feel like they have to do that to even get 1 kill. And sometimes that can lead to 2 or 3 or 4, because their teammates really don't want to leave their teammates behind, so the killer just ends up taking advantage of that. I think it would all even out. But the average kill rate is also apparently up to 61% from 53%. And again, going back to the survivor data, I would believe that because Dead Hard, one of the most useful perks this game ever had, was nerfed into oblivion. Dead Hard could literally extend your chase for another 2 minutes because of the distance that you got for the killer. Now, you really have to use your mind, your brain, and time your Dead Hard as a survivor, so it's made it a lot more difficult, and again, it's not a brain dead perk anymore. So I do believe that the kill rate is up by that much. But I would like to know what you guys think about all of this. I think the data is pretty accurate for the killers, but I think the survivor data is a little wacky, because as I said, it's easy to rise in the ranks as a killer, it's harder to hold that spot. It's harder to rise in the ranks as a survivor, but it's easier to hold that spot. It's a weird balance, it's a weird mix, and it's one of those things where it's like you can take the casual data from killers and it makes a lot of sense, even in a higher level atmosphere. But for survivors, you take that casual data and you're seeing almost none of the things that you would see in a higher level atmosphere. It's so weird, it's so weirdly balanced, and I hope that makes sense to people. But I would like to know what you guys think in the comments down below. How do you feel about this data? What would you change? I have a list of things I would change, including hex perks and how they work, especially Devour Hope, and some survivor perks that I would make better because I would make some others worse, and I would make some of the killer perks worse as well, because there's some of them that just ruin the fun of the game. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. How do you feel about the data? Give me some of your changes to help fix everything. But that's going to do it for me, Dukes. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Tude, and I've been your host, and I'll see you, Dukes, next time. Peace out.